All right, I'm still working on that Navy radio. I have to replace these cans, and each metal can has three capacitors in it. I've gone through this before. The last time I took the cans off the radio, they were bolted on. This one here seems to have some type of threaded screw, maybe a rivet holding it on. But I decided to leave the cans on the radio. So I needed to make up a thing with three capacitors and a ground lug. In each area where there's a can, there's a bolt I can use for the ground. And you notice I have spaghetti tubing on the leads of the capacitors. Now, the reason you would use spaghetti tubing on the leads is you might be in an area of the radio, and when you put this in, you want to have that extra insulation on the lead. So you have abilities to move the lead out of the way of a wire, but that might not be good enough. Now, what I want to show you is a trick, and you might not know it. A lot of you know it. Always keep pieces of wire. Now, this is bell wire, and bell wire has solid copper core. Save that. You can use that for grounding strap. Have a box somewhere where you throw things out that you might think you don't need. And then at the end of the year, empty it if you haven't needed anything that's in there. So in other words, you take a piece of wire and you strip it. And you work it off. And bell wire works really good. There you go. There's your spaghetti. Now I want to tell you, it's a little harder getting on the larger caps on the wires, but it does go on. But any other cap, it just slides right on. Now I know my nails have gotten bigger. People make comments about, you have no idea how fast my nails grow. My nails grow, they should be cut every week. And I don't mean a little bit. I mean it grows a lot. And it's really annoying, and I'm very eccentric. And it seems like one day the nails are helping me grab something or strip something. The next scene, I'm looking, I'm like, they got big again. But it takes about a week for my nails to grow obnoxiously long. Anyway, there's your shrink tubing, or your spaghetti tubing. And it's when you're in an area, maybe when you're recapping, it gives you more options. Once you put that cap in there, and you bend it into position, you might find the lead of the capacitor comes dangerously close to another resistor or capacitor. By putting the spaghetti tubing over it, it gives you more of a chance that something won't go wrong. It gives you protection, it gives you insurance. And that's what I just wanted to show you. And almost all wires that are found in a computer, a home computer, should be saved. If you're going to throw a computer out or take it to the recycling center, open it up and cut out the wires. Now, there's people that do that. If you put it out in the trash, they grab the computers, they open up, they cut the wire out. They want to save the copper. I'm telling you right now, when you go to buy hookup wire and you got a project, you might want black for ground, red for 5 volts, maybe yellow for 12. And you start buying these rolls of wire, and it gets to be expensive. But if you save the wires that are in a computer, I think a lot of the connectors on the old ATs used to use black, red, yellow, and maybe white. There used to be like 4 wires and like a Molex plug. But anyway, I'm still using wire that from, let's see, 20 years ago, I started saving it. And the bell wire came up on People's website. He had a radio, crystal radio, that used 2 mayonnaise jars. And the only wire I could get at the time, I went to Lowe's and I bought telephone wire, not telephone wire, doorbell wire. And I think there was 3 colors. And I had to unwrap them. And I got two or 3 spools of wire. Red was one of the colors. Black was another one. And I've used them. Even after I built the radio and got it working, then I went back to just salvaging the wire and using it for other projects. Now, using that bell wire, I've used on several projects. But the reason you put spaghetti on the leads is you can leave them a little bit longer, and you got that insurance that it won't touch anything. And then you won't get a point where you put the capacitor in and you find out that you cut the leads too short. And if you ever have to salvage these capacitors, you'll leave enough on there they can be used again. But I just want to show you that, you know, it's something that not everybody does. There are people, I watch the videos, I watch how some people wire stuff, and I think to myself they really should use some spaghetti tubing, because when you first start out, you tend to you don't plan ahead. Let's put it that way. And a component, if you did bump it while you're working on something else, it could short out to something else, and you'll go crazy trying to find it. But I bought a bag of 100 ground lugs. Here it is here. 100 ground lugs. And you say 100? Yeah, I won't say I'm going to use every one of these before I die, but I keep salvaging these things. And that one radio I worked on that had the metal can capacitors, each lead was bolted to the head of that capacitor. And as I unscrewed the nuts, I saved every one of those ground lugs that have a star washer built into them. That's it's a star washer. It's an internal star washer, I believe it's called. But that's what it looks like. Let's see if we can get it in the camera. I know one guy's always complaining about my camera, but I bought 100 of them. And then these capacitors are, I believe, 630. I don't have my glasses on. 630.5 microfarads, which is pretty big. And then I have 0.1s. And that's what's in those metal cans. The first metal can is 0.5s and 0.1s. And the reason why the radio isn't done yet is both products, the Star Wash or ground lug and the 0.5s, took over a week to get here. Took probably exactly a week. And I'm telling you, when you order stuff from eBay, the person, they take it to the post office on Saturday. So if Sunday morning you put your order in, you're not going to see that till the following Monday, if you're lucky. And that's what happens. So all week long, Saturday comes, they ship it, and it might get there, depending on how they ship it. It's always going to come on a Monday, and I want to tell you, Monday has a lot of holidays. I think it's President's Day coming up. And Monday and Friday here, my mail doesn't come till 9 o'clock at night. And most of my orders either show up on Monday or Friday. I told you that story about cars that appear out of nowhere. I'm zeroing in on the fact that eBay guys that sell only do a run to the post office once a week. And the bigger guys, if you look at it, they sell a lot. They'll wait 3 days before they ship something. So you order it on Sunday, 3 days till they ship it. Several more days coming across the United States, because usually it's California, and then you get it on the following Monday. You're not going to get it for the weekend. And I'm getting better at this. But it's funny, I allow extra time, and then the guy gets lazy. And then I say something, oh yeah, I got to get around to doing it. So normally he'd wait 3 days to go to the post office, 3 days to come from California, and then you get it on Monday. I've had so many parts show up on Monday. I got Saturday and Sunday on the weekend, and I got snowed in, not real bad, but in other words, it would be nice to have the part to work on the radio, but I don't. I'm snowed in. I have the free time, and the part's not coming. And it's becoming very common. Now, if you go on eBay and you buy things, if you buy from a seller that's just a guy putting stuff up, he's going to go on Saturday. He's going to go on Saturday and ship to you. A bigger company, they wait several days, and then they ship. And they're in California. So, once in a while, there's a couple big companies or bigger guys that sell stuff. They're throughout the country. throughout the country, but you don't always hit them. Most of your, when you look at the price of the item and the shipping cost, it's going to be someone in California, and he's got the better deal. But like I said, he's going to ship it a little bit later, and it's not going to show up. I've been paying attention to when I order something and when I'm going to get it, and I'm trying to zero in on the fact that how to get it for the weekend. And the only way to do that is to get really lucky. And it ain't happening anymore. But everything's being sold out of California now. And years ago, if you wanted a metal lathe or any kind of stuff, when you bought it online, it would come from California. Everything's shifting over from east to west because it's going to China. And even your surplus stuff that gets scrapped out, that goes from east to west. And a lot of scrapping dealers and upcycling and recycling places are in California. And that's why, you know, you're going to pay a little more for the shipping. And it's really annoying. I've pretty well figured out that when I order something on Sunday, I'm not going to see it till a following Monday. No, Monday after next. And you're sitting there like, why is this so long? But, you know, and it's a wet blanket on the project. You know, you get in your mind, you got the time, you start figuring out how you want to do it, and then you order it, and then you get the snowstorms in between. You get, like, President's Day, I think it's Monday. I get emails from the bank. They're going to be closed. So when you do get it Monday, think about this. You're out there looking, well, it's coming today, it's Monday. Then you realize it's a holiday, and you got to wait yet another day before you can put the part into the project. You know, like I said, in the old days with Radio Shack, it was just a matter of having the money and are they open. See, when I worked in a company, we had almost all the parts. And I was good friends with the parts girl, and I go in the back and I just say, what do you got in this? What do you got in that? And she had stuff that she was scrapping out. Like I told you, the company would, if we didn't use enough of this one capacitor, they'd throw them all out and write them off, the taxes. And she'd bring the stuff out to me. And they'd write down that it went in the garbage, but it didn't. They'd give it to me. And then I would pick the dumpster also. And then I had the electronic barn where I could get stuff for, you know, capacitor for 5 cents. And, you know, they had bins and all that. All those capacitors, I was buying them 10, 15 at a time. They ended up on projects. And in later years, I said, let me leave the leads a little longer on the part if it's not an oscillator, and then I could recycle the part. Or later on, I went and made modules. So to change the frequency of the module, I had to change the coil. I started doing things ahead, so I wouldn't have to buy so many parts. Because I know I mentioned one time about waiting for parts. The guy goes, "You just got to keep more of them on hand." Well, look at how many radios I recapped in the last 2 years. I know that guy never even did 2 radios. Yeah, he's got a bunch of caps on hand, but they never get it. They never get put in anything. How many? Go look at how many radios I recapped. All those command radios, and then the power supplies for the command radios. Yeah, that's why I like these shoot from hip big mouth guys. They always have to make a comment. Oh, you just got to buy more. I do. This is a bag of 20, and this is $38. It's nothing to sneeze at anymore. And these are cheap capacitors. You go on these Mauser or Jameco. Wait till you see what price of capacitors. It's like, I think Shango was buying them at $1.80 each. No, not me. I try to get a bargain. Now these 20 for 38, so they're still over $1 each, right? If you do the math quickly in your head. And it's the only 600-volt capacitor at the time on eBay. So I was forced to buy these, and I did buy these. I bought 50 of these back when I was doing the other one. But these Navy radios and certain radios now, or back then, they used 0.5 capacitors, 0.5 microfarads. That's a big cap. Just a 0.1. Look at the difference in size. So I think that's it. I just wanted to show you. I am still working on it, and I wanted to cover every possibility. That's why I went with a ground lug. In other words, the three capacitors normally are in a can. The can itself, the metal, is the ground. So this is three capacitors, and I got the tubing on there, the spaghetti, and then spaghetti on the top leads. Now these three top leads go to the wires that would go into the capacitor on the top, and then there'll be some shrink tubing on it. But I wanted all the options, so when I put this down in the radio, I can move this a little bit that way, and I can find the space to put these three capacitors. And yeah, you could wire them up one at a time. You could do it that way, and you won't get it as nice. You just won't. Very tight. Once I get this ground lug in, what happens is the three wires that come up to here, those move around a little bit, and then I'm figuring everything so I won't get frustrated. The last time I did one of these radios that needed a bunch of 0.1s, it was really tight. And you know, your eyesight, when you get older, your eyesight, your hand coordination goes off a little bit, and you get frustrated earlier, and then you're saying, I should have come up with a way to do this better. But that last radio, I have no, I don't even remember why I bought it. I think, oh, I know why. It had a 2-tube front end, and in one of the Hellcrafters manuals, it said you don't want two amplifiers in the front, and it's because it makes the radio too narrow. Now I realized why. They had a hi-fi position for the AM broadcast band, and then you could go more narrow using crystals. If they had put that second transformer unit or tube front end, it might have made the signal more narrow, and they wouldn't have got the hi-fi setting. I don't know. I think they were kind of lying. All your radios, like BC348, it has two tubes on in the front end, the early model, and I'm pretty sure the BFO decoder in a BC348, I'm pretty sure it did sideband. I'm pretty sure. I haven't hooked that up. Somebody was doing a video on a BC348, and he said he would have to put a product detector inside the radio. I think it does code sideband. I'm pretty sure it did. But that's it. I think that's it. All right, that's it.